everyone. Today we're going to talk about electron configuration shorthand. It's very similar to orbital diagrams and longhand, except it's much shorter. So for all of you who were tired of writing it out one long way, there is a much shorter way. So I'm going to flip back and forth like I did before between my full screen and partial like this so I can type and use the flow chart so you guys can see. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so today we're going to talk about electron configuration shorthand. Of course, there is a shorter way to write this all out than with those long electron configurations. Yes, especially if you have mercury, number 80, they get to be very long. There has to be a shorter way. Of course there is, so we're going to figure that out today. So we're still going to use the same rules as the orbital diagram. Those are not changing. You have to finish the smaller ones before you move up on the chart, okay? So this should be a review by now. S still has one orbital and it can still hold 2 electrons. The number of electrons is still extremely important for you to keep in mind, as you saw in the last lesson. S can never go higher than 2, P can never go higher than 6, D can never go higher than 10, and F can never go higher than 14. Okay, so shorthand. What is the purpose of this? To be able to write electron configurations for elements, but in a much faster way. So before, when we did the longhand, we had to write out 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d6. Now we're going to do the shorthand. So argon, or a noble gas, is going to go in brackets, and then you continue on from there. So everything that was in parentheses here now goes in brackets, and then the ending remains the same. And I'm going to show you how to do this. Some of you may have noticed some of these practice problems in an earlier unit as well, where you had the brackets. So it is like that. Okay, so your steps for writing electron configuration shorthand. The first thing that you want to do is find your noble gas that is closest to, but has a lower atomic number than that element. So noble gases are always in group 18. So your noble gases are always at the end. This is group 18. So helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. We always go back to here. So for example, if I want to write the shorthand for magnesium, we have to backtrack to get to here. We go 12, 11, 10. So neon would be our noble gas that comes before magnesium. Let's try another one. If we want to do the electron configuration for copper, copper is right here, it's number 29. You have to backtrack. You have to go to the left, and here we hit a dead end, so 19, so we jump to 18. So argon comes before copper. Okay, let's try one up here, oxygen. Even though neon is very close to oxygen, we cannot jump ahead, we must jump back. So we go backtrack until we get to here. 3 is our dead end, so then we have to go to 2. Now I'm sure you all loved writing the electron configuration for mercury. It's a very high number of 80. It is very long. So the shorthand really helps with this. So we want to backtrack. So we have to find the noble gas that comes before it. So we go to the left, we keep going, 55 we hit a dead end, and then we jump to 54. All of the noble gases are here. You have to get to this way, okay? Now, even if you're here at bromine, you cannot jump ahead to krypton. You have to jump backwards, okay? You have to go back. So even if you're at bromine, you have to go back until you get to argon, okay? That's very important to remember. All right, so that's our first step. The next step is you're going to start the electron configuration after the noble gas at the next highest energy level. So helium ends in 1s2, neon ends in 2p6, argon ends in 3p6, krypton ends in 4p6, so xenon ends in 5p6, and radon ends in 6p6. So what does this mean? So if neon ends in 2p6, but we have something higher than neon and lower than argon, we ended right here, so then the next one we would start with 3s. If we ended with 3p6, or argon was our noble gas, we would then start the next one S4, S2. Okay? The best way to figure this out is to practice, and I'm going to practice with you. Okay? So let's get started. Oxygen. How many electrons does oxygen have? Oxygen's atomic number is 8, so it has 8 electrons. There we go. Okay. Which noble gas comes before oxygen? Before oxygen, if we jump to our periodic table, here's oxygen. We have to go back and we get to helium. Okay, so helium is going to come before it, and we always put the noble gas in brackets. Okay, now helium ends in 1s2, so 1s2 will go, we will start after that. Okay, so helium ends in 1s2, so we'll start after that. So helium goes in brackets, and helium had 2, so after 1s comes 2s. Remember, s can only hold 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. That's not enough. We need to get to 8. After 2s comes 2p. We were at 4, so we only need 4 more, so 2p4. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And that's our electron configuration shorthand for oxygen, okay? Let's try another one. Let's try silicon. Okay, how many electrons does silicon have? Let's look at your periodic table. Silicon is in group 14, is atomic number 14, so it has 14 electrons. The noble gas that comes before silicon, silicon's right here. I'll jump here so it's easier to see. Silicon's right here. We backtrack. And the noble gas that comes before it is neon. Okay, so neon comes before it, so it's going to go in brackets. Neon ends with 2p6. Okay, so when we start writing it, neon goes in brackets. Since it ended with 2p6, we are going to start with 3s2. It ended in 2p, so we start with 3s. So neon had 10, so 10 plus 2 is 12, so we still need 2 more. After 3s, we start over here and we get to 3p, so it's 3p2. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 10 is 14, okay? Let's try another one. Let's try iron. All right, how many electrons does iron have? Iron is number 26 on the periodic table. So it has 26 protons, so 26 electrons. Iron is right here. We need to find the noble gas that comes before it. So we have to backtrack. We get to 19, and we have to go to argon, which is 18. So argon is our noble gas that comes before it. It always goes in brackets. Okay. Argon ends with 3p6. So we're going to start after that. So we know that argon goes in brackets. Okay. We know that argon had 18. Now remember, if you need to help kind of keep track of your counting, you can always do a quick parentheses after argon so you can remember that it has 18 in it just to help keep track. So we're at 18. We need to get to 26. Argon ended with 3p6, so our next one is 4s2. So 18 plus 2 is 20. We still need 6 more. After 4s comes 3d, and we only need 6 more, so it'll be 3d6. Remember that d can go up to 10, but we don't need all 10 here. So 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 18 is 26. And since this is our final answer, I'm going to go ahead and delete that 18 then. So this will be your final answer. Okay. Let's try one more together. Let's try calcium. How many electrons does calcium have? Calcium is number 20, so it has 20 protons, so 20 electrons. The noble gas that comes before calcium, calcium is right here, so we need to backtrack 20, 19, 18. So argon is the noble gas that comes before it. Okay. Argon ends, we go back up here, argon ends with 3p6. Okay, so we are going to write our shorthand. We're going to put argon in brackets. Remember, if you need to help keep track of how many there are, you can put the number in parentheses. So argon had 18, so I can put that in parentheses just to help keep track. Okay, argon ended with 3p, so next would be 4s2. 18 plus 2 is 20, so we are all set. We needed 20. 20 is our number of electrons. Argon has 18 plus 2 is 20, so that's our final answer. Okay, this does take practice. I do want you guys to take the time to practice. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Okay, let's keep going. Now, can you figure out the name of the element by looking at it? Of course you can. So I want you to practice these. Identify the name of each of the following elements. Make sure when it comes up or on your paper, you pause the video, give yourself a chance to practice, and then resume the video so you could check your answers, okay? All right, hopefully by now you did the practice. Let's go through and check them. Our first one was chlorine. Neon had 10, plus 2 is 12, plus 5 is 17. Okay, the next one is tin. Krypton has 36. 36 plus 2 is 38. 38 plus 10 is 48. 48 plus 2 is 50. Tin has the atomic number of 50. Okay. Vanadium. Argon, we know, has 18. 18 plus 2 is 20. Plus 3 is 23. So we get vanadium. Okay. And then the last two are molybdenum and tungsten. Okay. How'd you do? Hopefully you did okay. What questions do you have for me? I know shorthand can be very confusing. Take the time to look at your noble gases. Take the time to look at and see what they end with. Make sure you continue to use your flowchart and count your number of electrons. It will all be very helpful for you. I hope you do well and let me know.